family spokesperson for the family of Harry Dunn. Up here with me, starting from the right, we have Bruce Charles, who is Harry's second dad. Immediately to my right is Charlotte Charles, who is Harry's mum. Immediately to my left is Tim Dunn, who is Harry's dad. And on the far left is Tracy Dunn, who is Harry's second mum. So let me just start off by making a few brief remarks. Firstly, it's really good to be here in New York, in the United States, and we're really glad to have the opportunity to share our story with the people of America, because it's a terrible, terrible story of just desperate loss, and compounded by this poor family being really abandoned by the authorities. There's clearly been some significant developments over the weekend, which happy to take any questions on. On Saturday, I think it was, although time is blurring, both governments seemed to get to a place where they agreed between them that Anne Sacoolas no longer had immunity, which was clearly a significant development. And also on the same day, I was pleased to have an approach from a lawyer who had been appointed on behalf of Anne Sacoolas. So that said, we have until about 10:30 this morning. Happy to go straight to questions.
Radd, when will you meet Sacoolas?
I've just opened a dialogue with a lawyer at the moment, Lisa, and certainly we will try, she and I, to get together by the end of the week. But it's dependent on her agreeing and indicating that Mrs. Sacoolas will return to the United Kingdom to present herself to the police. That's our condition, and if that isn't confirmed, then we don't really see the point in meeting. So if that's forthcoming, I'll meet with their lawyer on hopefully Friday or Saturday. But if not, I think it's a condition for us.
What's the agenda for this week? Have any U.S. officials actually reached out to any of you? Do you have any meetings set up?
We certainly plan to be in Washington Wednesday and Thursday at the very least. We have reached out to a number of lawmakers and politicians, and as many of you will have seen, I've also reached out to President Trump, and I'll make myself available to any politician who takes interest in this terrible story. You see these people here now. These are just humble, normal, ordinary people like you and I from a tiny little community in Northamptonshire in England, and they find themselves in the middle of really quite a hurricane. But yeah, we will be there Wednesday and Thursday, and I'll meet with anybody who.
But for the Dunns, what is it that you all are looking to hear from the U.S. officials? Who would you like to speak to directly?
Just come and speak to next to the microphone.
President Trump, I suppose. We need him to agree to put her on a plane back to the UK. Although, having said that, I believe that she should be able to make that decision herself. She needs to just do the right thing and just come back and face what she's done, face us as a broken family, face our UK system, and just do the right thing. She needs to set an example to her own children that you can't run away when you've done something so terribly wrong.
Charlotte, you finally heard from Anne Sacoolas that she was devastated. What do you say to her?
We heard it in a statement. I have not heard her voice. I don't know how sincere it was. Of course she's suffering. We've known all along that she would be suffering. Her children must be suffering. You know, 2 of them were in the car, and that's horrific. Our lad wasn't a little lad. The car was extremely damaged, as well as Harry. So we're not inhumane. We still don't wish her any ill harm. But we need to hear it from her, in her own words, in a room, on our terms, in the UK, with therapists and whoever else around us that we can help, mediators. But just hearing it through a statement, we're 7 weeks in now. It's a bit too much, too little, too late, I'm afraid.
Charlotte, you have suffered indescribably. feel you've suffered unnecessarily because of the actions of either the US authorities or the UK Foreign Office? What should they have done differently?
Not let her go home. You know, whoever made that decision, we do not know. But we shouldn't have gone through this. We shouldn't be suffering like this. It should have been an open and shut case. The evidence is extremely clear. What happened? We've been told that there is CCTV evidence showing her leaving RAF Croughton on the wrong side of the road, and that CCTV follows her all the way down the road on the wrong side of the road, and you see Harry's headlight of his motorbike, and then there's a big fireball when his bike went up. So it should have been a clear-cut case. It should have been simple. And I promised Harry, and we promised Harry as a family when we'd lost him that night, when we were talking to him in the hospital, when we'd lost him already, that we would make sure justice was done. We thought it would be an easy one, an easy case, with all the evidence that the Northamptonshire police have. But clearly not, and that's why we're here.
What do you want to hear from the UK police or the Foreign Office? What do you want the next development to be announced?
We just want to know that she's being brought back to the UK. You know, that would be a huge step in the right direction. It's the only right thing to do. It's the only humane thing to do. And we would hope then that we can try to start to move forward and the UK justice system do whatever they feel is right, because with it being 7 weeks later, we're not sure if we can be involved with trying to reduce her sentence, which is what we said we would do in the first place. They wanted to pursue her or charge her with death by dangerous driving. We spoke to the police right at the beginning. Knowing that she had children, we were going to work with them, ask for her sentence to be reduced to death by careless, and ask for us suspended so that we didn't take her away from her children. Although she's robbed us of one of ours, it wasn't unintentional, it was an accident, we understand that. But 7 weeks on, and we've had to do this to get an apology, just in writing. That's just wrong. Sorry.
Tim, could I ask you some of the same questions? Have you thought what you might say to Sacoolas if you were given the opportunity to be in the room with her?
I've always wanted to ask her if she could explain the moment of the crash, find out if she comforted Harry, if she spoke to Harry, find out what her movements were. Did she try and call the emergency services, or I'm just struggling because I can't imagine my lad being in the ditch and not having any comfort from anybody until the ambulance and the police turn up X minutes later.
Do you feel you're struggling to begin to grieve because this has gone on so long?
When we had the funeral, which was a lovely tribute to him, I thought maybe that was the time we were going to turn the corner, but then it wasn't until a week later when we found out that she'd left the country, and now it feels like it's just gone right back to that night he died, and it's just no way I can start grieving yet. As a family, we can't start yet. We need this resolved. We do need this resolved.
And do you find it hard to believe that the Foreign Office didn't know that Sacoolas had been?
In my opinion, they knew she didn't have. I'm sorry, but there's something's not right here. This is just somewhere somebody's made a decision to give this lady immunity, and she's not entitled to the immunity, as things have been said, and we've known that from the start. We knew from the start. They've made a mistake. Someone's made a mistake.
If you're able to meet with President Trump, what would you say to him? What does he need to understand?
Just to me, it's so simple. It's just on that night there was an accident. A lady made a mistake. She killed our son. She didn't mean to kill him. She didn't mean to have the accident. But you cannot walk away from that and just leave and expect nothing to happen. Our boy died. He deserves to have some justice, whatever that turns out to be. All you hear, if your son or child was to die, you would want justice for your child. And that's all we want. We don't want, we just want justice. We want justice for Harry.
What would you say to President Trump?
I would just say to him, as a man, as a father, thank you, just to see how it is. How could you let this happen? If you were a father and your child had died, surely you'd want that person to own up and take the responsibility of their actions. That's all it is. It's not. That's all we want.
Radd, if Sacoolas is not returned to the UK, as far as the legal proceedings are concerned, what are the steps you're going to take?
It's really not. We have a range of legal options open to us, which we are continually reviewing with a QC who's been appointed and one of the top solicitors in London. So back home, we are thinking about our strategies and wondering what to do. We are on the verge of appointing a lawyer who has expertise in international law and just specifically these laws as well. Here on this side, one of the reasons why I'm here is to try and talk to some lawyers who might be able to help us with legal proceedings here in the United States. So, the people on the other side of this dispute need to understand that this family here are determined to get justice for Harry, whatever that means. And I came on board about 3 weeks ago, and it's been a whirlwind ever since. I think the five of us here are going for a world record of the lack of sleep. I think I'm on my 16th day now of not being able to sleep because there's just so much to do. So I've got a team of lawyers who are sitting back in London at the moment, busy plotting this out and where's the best way to go. But we will get justice for Harry. These little green ribbons that you see, which we are wearing now, symbolize Harry, and it's a very special thing that's happening. Harry loved Kawasaki green. That was his favorite color. And his motorbike, the one that he had his accident on, was painted in Kawasaki green. So we wear these ribbons today, and we will continue to wear them as a memory to this exceptional boy, wonderful, wonderful boy, smiling and happy, good to everybody, a fantastic motorbike rider. I'm not a motorbike rider, but I've spoken to people who know him, who said at age 19, he was an incredibly capable, safe rider. And apart from that, we are trying to raise funds, and we are selling these ribbons to people in the community back home. I think demand was, incredible. We didn't think I think we printed 1,000, but then they were gone in minutes. So, we are. I think the expression these days is lawyering up, and I am not going to rest until we secure every last little bit of justice for this young man, because he deserves nothing less. He was taken from us far too young in circumstances not of his making. And I have committed to my friends, these are my friends, they're my neighbors, and now I'm representing them. We were going to pursue every single avenue on both sides of the Atlantic.
And get change done.
That's absolutely right. So then the third phase of that, once we've done that, is, again, I cannot tell you how wonderful these people are who are standing up here with me. The dignity and the magnanimity and the decency. I dare say, if it had been my child, I'm not sure that I could stand here with the composure that they are. But one of the things that has become clear to us is just how complicated these international diplomatic immunity laws are. There's only 3 lawyers in the UK who really truly understand them. We have hired 2 of them. And they have both said that, unfortunately, with Harry's passing, this is now an opportunity, given the conduct of the United States government, what they've done here, this is now an opportunity to get those laws out, get the dusty books out, and get some really serious, brainy people and say, what happened to this family up here is not good enough. And in its simplest terms, what we have is, clearly a terrible accident. But any of us in this room, or anybody watching out there in the world, I would like to think you wouldn't run. You would stand and face the consequences and work with the authorities, whatever the courts decided. I can't imagine that a single person watching this can comprehend the actions that either the U.S. government took or the Sacoolases when they got on that plane and flew back home. And what were they thinking? They knew they were leaving a family. They didn't know who they were. But look, these are normal people up here with me. They're you and I. What would any of us do? And, God bless these people up here. They are terrific people. They don't mean Anne Sacoolas any ill will. It was an accident. But the conduct afterwards has been nothing short of disgraceful. And we don't know who was involved in this decision or whether Mrs. Sacoolas left the UK of her own free will. But we will not rest until we've either had a chance to speak to those who made that decision or had disclosure from them through the courts, because these people deserve that explanation. And just imagine what we've been through over the last few weeks. And I've spent pretty much 24/7 with these people, and we sit there and we scratch our heads. The thing that we always come back to is, how could they? How could they even forget the law? From a human level or a moral level, look, the pain that's been caused on top of the obvious grief, which those of us who have suffered loss would know is bad enough. And you get that knock on the door and you say she's gone, and then you don't think you can get justice for your son, like Tim said. It was just let's say it was a kick in the stomach. Yeah, Arthur.
I have a question for Charlotte and or Tim. You reacted yesterday with a degree of positivity to the letter from Dominic Radd. Have it sunk in now? Is that still a game changer, or do you feel you're in for the long haul?
I think it is still, it's still some positivity for sure. I think we'd like the same letter from the US government, as opposed to just our own in the UK, just as double confirmation that she does not have this immunity, over and above that feeling that you get in the pit of your tummy every morning, knowing that you've lost a child. There's been an extra gnawing at us in our tummies since we lost him, that just keeps telling us something's not right, and that's why I think, call it parental instinct, whatever, I don't know, I can't explain it, but there's always been an extra feeling that something's not right. I suppose the letter from Dominic Raab has confirmed, in a sense, that we have been right all along, that she doesn't have the immunity, but to hear it from the US government as well would be a bonus for us.
Is it worrying that they haven't responded? It's been a day and a half now since the letter.
Yeah. We are literally living hour by hour anyway, have been for the last 7 weeks. Each day's rolling into the next. So to put a day and a half time frame on it just seems relatively short for us at the moment, but we would hope that we'll get something else from them.
Shaking your head, Tim, how do you feel?
I mean, we had a meeting with Dominic Raab last week, and we had a meeting with Dominic Raab last week, and it didn't go as I was hoping it was. He sort of said they asked for a waiver a couple of times, and the US didn't grant it, and then we get a letter saying that she didn't have immunity anyway. So I don't understand why they were asking for a waiver then, all the last week. To me, it just doesn't add up. Why are you asking for something that she doesn't have? So it just, yes, it was great. When I got the letter, I was overjoyed. But now I've had a chance to think about it. It doesn't really change anything. It hasn't really made any difference to me, because we always said she didn't. But, she didn't have immunity. It's just that they've confirmed it after they've asked for 2 or 3 waivers. I don't see how the government can be, or the Foreign and Commonwealth Office can get it so different. Is it, I don't know, is it me just looking at it too simple, or is it just seems like, why ask for a waiver if it admits she doesn't have immunity? I don't know, sorry.
Charlotte, or Tim, you said that you want change now for this sort of this case ever happening again.